We rolling?
Yes.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Movie Club. I'm with Sean and Rocco. These two guys look so fine. They don't need no man.
Wow.
And I
Don't
just ordered.
speak for me.
Well,
I-
all right. Well, I will speak for Rocco because for you, I just ordered sushi from Japan.
Oh.
And do you know why?
Why?
Because today we're kicking it with Jackie Chan.
Oh.
We're watching Police Story on today's episode of Movie Club. Hit it! I don't know
We
if-
don't have a theme song.
No, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't prepare.
I got so
a theme
excited.
song, Yeah.
I'm channeling Jackie Chan energy ever since I saw this movie.
Yeah.
It's Police Story. We just said that. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. This movie changed my life.
Change your life.
Let's discuss.
Wow, that's a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, considering I watched it yesterday, I'm a whole new man.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is kind of how I was after I saw the tuxedo. I thought him and Jennifer Love Hewitt,
Yeah.
kind of changed film.
Yeah.
So to see where he started, it added a
Shanghai
little.
Nights better personally, but
Shanghai Nights.
that's me.
We're going to get into all the opportunities you want to make fun of Jackie Chan
I don't.
today.
Turns
but-
out I don't want to make fun of him at all.
I don't.
Having watched Police Story, I have nothing but admiration, respect, and love for Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I've been doing a deep dive on Jackie Chan since I watched this movie yesterday, and it's gone all the way around the world, I think, from Jackie Chan. Oh my God, Jackie Chan. Wow, holy shit. The legend is alive, Jackie Chan. I'm kind of depressed. Jackie Chan is so amazing, you know? That was the final...
Oh, you're depressed now.
That was this morning when I was preparing for notes.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I have a lot of notes, and just in doing my research, I found out how amazing Jackie Chan is. But it literally got to a point where I was like, oh, and he can do that. Oh, and he can do that. And I just started getting depressed. Like, fuck you, Jackie Chan.
Yeah, stop doing
Yeah.
so much.
Why are you so amazing? Police Story.
Yeah, that's what we're watching.
Get ready. I hope you saw it.
For anybody who doesn't know, Police Story is a movie that came out in 1985. It is a cop movie starring Jackie Chan. It is the first kung fu comedy modern cop action movie
Yeah.
supposedly ever made, or was the landmark of that highly successful genre.
Did you read about why it was called Police Story?
Yeah,
Yeah, what was
I
the deal
read
with
that
that?
every time Jackie Chan made a movie, it would change. Like everybody would try to copy him and beat him to
Yeah.
the punch. So he
So
made
they w-
Drunken Master, and
Right.
everybody made these drunken kung fu movies.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
got those out before he got his out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, oh, he's doing that. We're going to do that too. And so he thought Police Story was so generic. It's like, yeah, okay, but what is that? But they couldn't copy it.
They couldn't copy it because nobody had ever made a kung fu cop movie up to that point.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, this movie, like I said, came out in 1985, written by, produced by,
Jesus.
directed
Oh
by,
my God.
and starring
Who?
Chris Tucker.
Wow.
No, wait, no. So the other guy from Rush Hour, Jackie Chan. This movie, we will get into it. We're
Yeah.
going to get into it. But I just felt, all right, now I'll be honest. Parts of it sucked.
Yeah.
Parts
God.
of it stank.
So bad.
Parts of it were awful. But I feel like what was good was so good,
Yeah.
I could just overlook the parts that were bad.
You know what's funny? I don't want to spoil anybody else's review, but you're saying that.
Yeah.
Sean said something to me the other day of that effect.
Right.
Again, won't go into it.
Sure.
But I enjoyed the whole thing.
Did you really?
I liked all of it. Yeah.
I-
even when it was bad, it was still like endearing to me.
At the end of the day, I enjoyed all of it too.
Yeah.
When it was all said and done, I enjoyed all of it. But the journey was a little tedious, but it was all worth it in the end for me.
Sure.
Yeah. I will tell you, though, that first 10 minutes blew me away more than I think any other movie in the first 10 minutes.
I
had.
agree. So I picked this movie having no idea what it was, or really even,
Yeah.
I don't even think I really knew that much about Jackie Chan,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, I had seen Rush Hour 1 and 2, I think I saw Operation Condor when I was a kid, and I don't really remember it. I remember
Yeah.
Jackie Chan being a big star
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I was a kid, and Jackie Chan Adventures, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Post Malone made that great song, We're Gonna Kick It Like Jackie Chan. But I had always heard, he had these older action movies. I just knew that I
Yeah.
wasn't really aware of what made him a big star.
Yeah.
So I honestly did a Google search. What's the best Jackie Chan movie? And there's not really a consensus. But this movie, it's pretty well rounded. Everybody agrees like this one's pretty solid on all fronts. It's got good action, it's got a decent story. It's pretty heartwarming.
Yeah, and this is to me the greatest example of that thirst you have as like a young person to prove yourself to, you know what I mean? Just in everything you mentioned, all the roles that he fills and the stunts that he does, I don't know, to me I sense that like I gotta like go as far as I can kind of thing. It's all here.
And this movie is considered by Jackie Chan to be his best film.
Yeah.
So it's his personal favorite. I didn't know anything going into it. So like you said, I sat down and I hit play and I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And the movie starts and I was like, okay, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And at the end of that first 20 minutes, I think I had like a little tear welling up in my eye because I was like, I don't believe what I just saw.
Yeah.
Like I can't quite comprehend what I just witnessed. I did not expect that at all. And I almost feel bad. People, if you're watching this, maybe just pause this and go watch the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're about to spoil it.
If
Well, I
nothing
really
else.
hope, I do hope that when people watch our podcast, did we ever ask that question? They answered it that like, do they watch it with us? I'm not sure. If,
Yeah, on Patreon, a lot of people do, but there were a lot of people that don't, that are just like, hey, no, I like to hear what you have to say about it. But
That's
there are a
fine,
lot of
too.
people who do like to follow
Well,
along.
I would say if you're in the category who don't watch the movie with us, that's fine. But do yourself a favor and watch the first 20 minutes.
You'll know when
this
to,
one.
you'll know when to
It's
stop.
on HBO Max. I'm assuming you have that.
I think it's on YouTube.
Oh, really?
For free.
Well, then there you
I think
go.
somebody put it on
Well,
YouTube.
I was just going to say the whole reason it's so funny.
As of this recording.
Yeah, we'll see. But you mentioning it was great that you picked this for Movie Club. I had just seen it even before you had mentioned you wanted to watch it.
Whoa.
I had just seen it because Criterion had just done a Blu-ray of part of 1 and 2.
Okay.
And I was in the same mindset. I was like, you know what? I think it was on sale or something. And I was like, you know what? I always scoff at Jackie Chan. There has to be a reason he was so big.
Yeah.
And here's where it started. All right, I'll throw the guy a few bucks. And that was how. And
Wow.
yeah. So I was already in that same mindset as you. It was like, let's see why this guy became
Did you
who
watch
he was.
2 then, Rocco?
No, actually, no. I still haven't seen
Okay.
2.
So the movie opens with, I actually appreciate this. It just throws you into a police sting.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of gangsters show up at a shanty town and then they're being surveilled, they're being watched, and it kind of freeze frames on them. And then you hear the police lieutenant, this is who we're going for. Operation Wild Boar or whatever it is.
Yeah.
These are drug dealers. This is the kingpin. These are his right-hand men. They kind of lay out all the villains in the beginning of the movie. And if you didn't know who Jackie Chan was, you wouldn't know he was the main character of this movie.
Right.
Because he's just one guy amongst this force of police officers.
Yeah.
And what's so awesome about this first 20 minutes, they just take a half hour to kind of show you why Jackie Chan is better than everyone else. He's just an average guy on this force, and they do an undercover sting in this town, and their cover is blown, and a shootout starts. This is kind of the opening of the movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was filmed really well. Actually,
Yeah.
just the shootout and the music and the vibe, I was already into it.
Yeah.
Well, again, when we watched, what was the Bruce Lee movie we watched?
Enter the Dragon.
We watched that. I was like, oh, I'm just seeing Japan or wherever we were there.
I think that was Hong Kong as well.
I think, okay, Hong Kong. We're just seeing Hong Kong in the 70s, and I like that. I really enjoy that. And when this
Yeah.
movie opened, I thought, oh, we're just seeing like this town in the 80s. That's cool. Like,
yeah,
I
they
love
got
to see
the
some of
big
that.
cell phone. They got the
Yeah.
cool 80s cars.
It was cool, and I didn't realize, and I honestly did research and I tried to figure out the deal with this town because I couldn't. So maybe you found something. But I was at the end, I'm like, was that a set?
I'll tell you.
Was that an actual
So-
town?
Well, so what happens? I thought the shootout was exciting.
Yes.
Before we get to the next part, I liked how it was. I like the way they show the cops in this movie. Honestly, the shootout starts and the cops are immediately like, protect the people, get them out of here, and they're like picking up the kids and throwing them out of the way, like, get out of here, bad stuff is happening. They really want to protect the people. And they have this one cop who like pisses his pants.
Yeah.
And he's like shooting a mirror of himself. I loved that detail of this is an action movie and Jackie Chan is going to be Superman.
Yeah.
But they still take the time to show you like hey, this is scary. Like,
Yeah.
not everybody's cut out for like getting into a gunfight.
It reminded me of a war movie where you see the soldier who just can't do it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of realism. There's a little bit of drama to this movie. It's an action movie. It's a slapstick comedy, but it also has like some pretty dramatic moments to it.
Yeah. And honestly, you wouldn't know in the first 20 minutes this was a comedy. Like,
No.
there's no elements of jokes
In
anywhere.
fact, when the comedy elements showed up, I was a little bit disappointed.
Me too.
But now I know what I'm getting into. So there's a shootout in this shanty town, and the bad guys get trapped at the top of this hill, and they say the only way out of here, that way. And all they do is they just drive through the town. And this is when my jaw hit the floor, because I was like, I was not ready for an incredible stunt like this.
Yeah.
They destroy a town with these cars. They drive through this town
There's
on a hill.
explosions.
They wipe it out.
There's people diving out of the way of these cars and the explosions.
Like, it's 4 cars racing each other through buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they built that whole town
Did they really?
just for this shoot. So that was
Wow.
a stunt town, and a lot of people got fucking injured making that thing.
Really?
Fast forward the credits of this movie. Did you watch it? They
I
have
did.
the blooper reel.
Yeah.
That was like
Yeah.
my favorite part.
That was
Yeah.
really cool.
Because then I realized, like, dang, this was just. It was clear a lot of people got hurt making this movie.
There was one guy that looked dead walking out on the stretcher, or like they're taking him out on the stretcher. Like, did this person, did he not
I
make it?
think that was Jackie Chan.
Oh, that was Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell because
Yeah,
his face
I
is all
think-
fucked
I
up.
think it
Oh,
was.
wow.
Real quick, some of the injuries Jackie Chan sustained while making this movie: dislocated pelvis. I think he impacted his 7th and 8th vertebrae in his spinal column. There's a scene in the end of the movie where he does an incredible stunt that resulted in his hands being severely burned and secondary burns. And I think, I read at one point they had to take him to the hospital because he wasn't breathing.
Oh, my.
And they had to like
Well-
resuscitate him.
That seems like a trip to the hospital. That seems like it's worth it.
Him driving through that town for some, I thought I had read that town did exist, but maybe I'm crazy.
Well, it doesn't anymore.
like
because they
it was
destroyed
like,
it.
yo, this is a shitty thing, and they're gonna tear it down or something. I might be thinking of a different movie.
Wasn't
though.
that
I don't know.
Fuck, what was
Well,
that?
maybe
trying
I'm
to
wrong
remember.
out there, and a fan can correct us
Yeah,
if we don't know the truth.
Yeah, please let us
With
know
the
because I
alien
can't
movie,
remember.
They filmed it in South Africa. What is that movie?
Oh, District 9.
District 9.
Yeah.
That was the case there too, right? That
I
was
think
like
so.
actual slums.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not. I may be totally wrong on that. I can't remember.
By the way, there's like a badass like heavy metal guitar riff soundtrack through all these action scenes, and the theme song to this movie is badass. You know, these guys have heard me singing it. I have the lyrics here. I'm not going to sing it right now because I'm going to offend people out there with my poor pronunciation.
But he's been really giving it his all.
I have.
he has
Jackie Chan sings the theme song to this movie. I didn't even realize Jackie Chan is like a legitimate pop star in China.
He's a pop star?
Yes. Jackie Chan is a pop star in China.
Whoa.
This song, Pang Chi
Yeah, I
No.
knew to get him.
Those are the first 3 lyrics. That's all I'm going to say. It's called Hero Story. It's the theme to Police Story. This became like the Bad Boys of Hong Kong. It's like the
Whoa.
police use it in all their recruiting videos for their commercials.
Oh.
So that's breaking. Wow, because that happens in the movie. They use him, Jackie Chan, and
Yeah.
that. Whoa.
This song became a legitimate hit. Jackie Chan is a pop star in China, in addition to being an international movie star.
What the fuck?
You know what I realized? He sings the theme song to this movie. He's a pop star. He's kind of like Justin Timberlake.
Sure.
Except imagine if Justin Timberlake made amazing, badass action movies where he did all of his own stunts and was repeatedly like hurting himself to the point of hospitalization.
Yeah, and then directed the thing.
And directed the thing and produced it and wrote it. And is like an expertly trained kung fu warrior
Wow.
who speaks 10 languages.
Yeah.
There's nobody who compares to Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
The more I did research, I was like, Jackie Chan is literally a living legend. I think when he dies, then we're gonna appreciate like, did a human being like that actually live on Earth? Was Jackie Chan for real? The guy's amazing. Anyways, we're still talking about the first 20 minutes of this movie because they destroyed this whole town in an incredible stunt. And I feel like any other movie, the bad guy would like crash at the bottom and Jackie Chan would point a gun and be
Right.
like, hands up, mister. Fuck that. They destroy this town in the most breathtaking stunt, and then they get out and like hijack a bus, and Jackie Chan is like, "You're not getting away," and he chases him down on foot, like T-1000 Terminator
Like running
style.
down a hill that's like that steep.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck?
He has a gun in hand and he's just chasing them on foot. And then he like takes a woman's umbrella. And I'm like, Jackie Chan with a fucking umbrella, watch out. He chases down the bus and hooks the umbrella on. And then they're dragging him through the streets like on this umbrella. I'm like, you are still going with this fucking chase scene. Like it just keeps going.
Yeah.
It goes from one insane stunt to this double-decker bus sequence, which is just another insane stunt. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Even like the part where he eventually, like what he does is he like outruns the bus. Like the bus is going down the steep, windy mountain, so he just goes straight to the bottom by just shortcutting all the way down. And then he stops a car.
Yeah.
That alone looked fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
He's just standing there and going like, stop, to a car going like 50 miles an hour, and then the car does some crazy like, and stops. He doesn't flinch. Like the fucker is just like, yeah, you're not gonna hit me. I know you're not gonna hit me.
So this was Jackie Chan's, like, he really wanted to break out in America. He produced this. He was making another movie while he was filming this.
Oh.
He was starring in another movie, and then this was his personal project that he was filming in his off hours.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, this is his off hours.
This
time.
was his fucking off hours personal project because he's so amazing. And he said, I read somewhere that he really wanted to do the kung fu that he does with people and objects with cars in this movie.
Oh, Carfu.
Car fu. So that's why they drove 4 cars through that like shanty town, and that's why they had this whole bus sequence. Yeah, and he stops that car. He gets kicked. He catches the bus. They kick him off the bus. It's an amazing sequence, and then he somehow gets in front of it, and he just plays a game of chicken with the bus. He points a gun at the bus, and the bus stops like 3 feet in front of him. The blooper roll at the end of the movie, there's an outtake where the bus doesn't stop, and he jumps out of the way.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, this guy is fucking balls of steel. Like,
Yeah.
he's standing there, a double-decker bus is coming at 80 miles an hour, and he's just staring it down.
I also read that the take they did use, the other stunt actors fly out of the bus and land on their backs on the cement.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to land on the car, but the bus stopped too early.
Yeah.
And so they got like
shit.
more hurt than they were.
Yeah,
prepared for.
so in that scene, there's a moment where Jackie Chan kind of looks at the stuntman because he's the director and he knows like they just got fucked up. But then he like snaps back into character. You can kind of see it in the movie.
Well, I mean, honestly, like if someone gets hurt in front of you, it's like don't waste this take because they got hurt for nothing. Then like
you really do enter a weird mindset when in that situation. That's great you bring that up, Sean, because we've been part of that where it's like clearly we just hurt you. But you're going to be more hurt if we can't use this footage, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it already happened. Let's finish the take. Okay. Oh my God, are you okay? You know, kind of thing. Obviously, if it's something truly like
horrific,
you're going to stop right there. But you know, Sean, I think back to when we hit you with the fluorescent light bulbs or whatever in that one shot. It's like clearly you're hurt. You're not going to die, but let's finish the shot so that we could at least have something to show, and you'll be happier. But
that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, that happens when you're filming stuff like that.
You want to get the take. Definitely. It's so funny because I feel I've read that Jackie Chan is a perfectionist, so he will do a stunt and get it right.
Yeah.
And then many times he'll do it again, trying to get it better, and then he'll injure himself.
Oh no.
The second time.
Yeah.
Bro, you got it.
Yeah. You always want to get it that first time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the opening sequence ends. He apprehends the criminals, and
which is funny because if you read the plot, that's 30 seconds. Like there's a police sting, and they end up getting the bad guy.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, but that took such a long, amazing sequence to see that.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the movie, it's funny because it definitely takes a turn, a dip in action from that point on, which, you know, after you've seen that for 20 minutes, you have no idea what you're getting into. And I was like, what next? And then it was like, oh, him at work. Yeah, him getting a promotion.
And then like the music's kind of gets like wacky. And it's like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
But to me, that was all par for the course for like Asian film in the 80s. Like you know, I know what you're saying, but it didn't seem too weird to me. But I don't know. I guess I expected that. It's a Jackie Chan. It's not like Jackie Chan is like the most serious person. I mean, again, he's serious about this shit, but I don't know. It was kind of the energy I expected from it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just following along with the movie. I didn't have any expectations. I was just taking it as it was coming. So I just was riding on such an adrenaline high of that first 20 minutes. It sustained me for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I realized, I was like, it's been a while since we've had like some action. You know, it definitely like they took a while to establish the story.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind. So what happens is the drug dealers that are arrested, I have the plot synopsis here, but basically there's a girlfriend that gets arrested as well.
Yeah, I couldn't tell is she a girlfriend? Is she a secretary? I just didn't figure that out.
She's the the kingpin's secretary,
right,
who he's been dating for 4 months.
Oh.
So she knows a little bit about the business, but she doesn't know a lot. And they definitely arrest her, and they have her, they have her dead to rights, and they want to get her to flip on her boss.
Right.
And so what they do is they put Jackie Chan in charge of protecting her because she's been arrested and they're trying to get her to flip. They're worried that the kingpin is going to have her assassinated.
Right.
So they make Jackie Chan in charge of protecting her.
Now, also in this time too, doesn't it? He's a hero because he got the kingpin and he
gets a promotion and he becomes like the poster child for the police force.
He's like he's like their spokesperson.
So he's on
their
TV.
Mascot almost.
Basically, the drug dealers know he's the guy who busted them. He's the pain in the ass.
Right.
And he's the guy who is protecting the drug dealer's girlfriend now.
Right.
The girlfriend doesn't want protection. She doesn't want to work with the police. And Jackie Chan's telling her, like, you need us because your boyfriend is going to try to kill you. And she's like, he would never do that. I actually loved this part of the movie because then it turned into a slasher film. Because she's like, I don't want you protecting me. And Jackie Chan's like, fine, all right, I won't protect you. And he leaves her alone in her apartment, and a masked guy with a knife starts stalking her, and the music turns into like, da-da-da.
Yeah.
Slasher movie stuff.
It was.
I was getting excited.
Yeah.
And after having watched the movie and knowing what I got, it turned into a little bit of a slapstick comedy bit. I don't hate it now that it's all said and done.
Yeah, I hated it in the moment. A thing that I did like right before that though was when the police wanted to talk to her without her lawyer, and then so they kicked the lawyer out, and then once the room was just them, they didn't say anything. They just sat there and like read the paper. Yeah. And then when the lawyer was like, "What did they ask you?" and she's like, "They said nothing." And it's like, oh, that's a good way to make it look like you're not gonna say what they said, but they actually just said nothing.
Yeah, they're just trying to drive that.
I don't know if I've seen that device in a movie before, but that was clever, I thought.
Yeah, this movie, I feel like this movie holds up. Watching it in 2021, I didn't feel like it was extremely dated or stupid or hokey or unenjoyable.
No.
My only criticism is some of the comedy is I was enjoying an action movie and I was enjoying the drama, and there were parts where the comedy felt a little out of place.
I also kind of felt like with the slasher part that you're talking about, like, yeah, they made that part like he busts out, this guy with the mask tries to stab her.
Yeah.
And they make it wacky.
That was one of the times where I felt like the comedy was a little out of place.
Yeah.
But then you find out that the slasher is staged. He's a friend of Jackie Chan who works on the police force. And then the comedy of the situation was revealed to me. Mm-hmm. And I felt I could appreciate it more when I understood what was going on.
They told you the answer. Like, it was weird. It was like, I don't know, like they didn't do that right in my mind. I don't know. It was just like, why is this funny? This is like a terrible thing that's happening to this woman.
To give people an idea of the comedy of the slasher killer part, it's a masked guy with a knife, and he looks legitimately creepy. He looks like a freak with this mask on. But he keeps the mask keeps falling off, and he's like, oh, wait, hold on. Okay. And then he'll shake the knife in front of her face, being like, you're going to die.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you.
Ooh, I'm going to kill you. Ooh. And I was watching it, and I was like, I can't tell if this is a guy who works for the drug dealer, and he's so sick and psychotic that he gets a perverse satisfaction out of watching her be afraid of him. That's where I thought they were going. But then it just kept being but at this point, stab her.
Yeah, kill her.
At this point, this is getting ludicrous. But then it was like, oh, no. He's actually a police officer. He's actually a good guy.
Yeah.
He's just trying to scare her.
I think like it would have worked for me if I would have known. If I would have been along with that plan, I think maybe I'd been like, oh, he's just fucking with her.
Yeah.
But this is like, I don't get what's happening.
You know what though? This is what I said. Like now that I know, I'm fine with it. Having seen Police Story, I would gladly watch it again and enjoy that part. The first time you watch it though, it's a little bit of a roller coaster ride, you know, and in some parts are hard to get through.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, again, I think I had kind of a preconceived notion going into it where I had just always heard that his stuff kind of walked a wacky line. You know what I mean? And and again, I feel like there's a lot of Asian cinema from this time that did the same thing. So to me, all of this, I was kind of like, it was all kind of what I expected. So I already had that idea going in, and so I think that helped. I don't know how I would have felt with just going in cold. And I'd seen, honestly, like I'd never seen this movie, but I'd seen clips of it before. You know, I think I knew what kind of space it occupied. You know what I mean? So so I didn't mind any of that.
Okay.
I thought it was fun.
Well, it works. The plan works. The gangster's girlfriend is convinced she needs protection, but then coincidentally, some real assassins show up, and then we get a cool action scene where Jackie Chan beats these guys up in a car.
Yeah. With a car too.
With a car, it's like
Carfu,
they get
but once
surrounded.
again.
Yeah, more Carfu. They get surrounded by cars, and they basically have a fight in the streets, in and out of the cars. It was cool. It wasn't the most amazing action sequence in the movie, but it was definitely like, hey, some more action.
But you know what's funny is I feel like if it was any other movie, that would have by far been the most exciting action sequence in the movie. Like, everything was so revved up in this movie, the action sequences, that like you see that and it's like, oh, it was okay, but in really, it was incredible. But it was just like compared to everything else, like whatever.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, in doing research for this movie, and I kind of wanted to rewatch some scenes on YouTube. And I was getting pre-roll ads for Fast and the Furious 9 with Vin Diesel. And in the pre-roll ad, he's in a CGI car. They drive it off a cliff, and he's like, "Don't worry," to the person in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
And he like hits a button, and a harpoon shoots out and like catches a bridge, and he like swings across this gorge to safety. And I was just thinking, like, I don't know, man. I just saw Jackie Chan like do some real shit with some real cars and some real buses. Yeah, they didn't swing across a cliff, but it was way cooler. It's like what you're saying, him crashing these cars and just fighting people through the windshields, to me was more exciting than whatever mega harpoon swinging stunt they're doing in CGI.
Even aside from that, like I could even, I'm not actually arguing this, but I could even argue the part you're describing. All right, whatever. Maybe that's out of this world. Like maybe they're going so far with their car stuff that they have to CGI that. Fine, great. I'm even thinking back to, I watched all after we did the Fast and Furious original movie club, I watched them all. And I think it was like 6 or 7. Vin Diesel jumps out of his car to like grab onto a helicopter, and it's like a CGI man. You know what I mean? It's like what you're describing is like weird car shit. Okay, fine. That was just Vin Diesel jumping out, or I think he jumps onto like the freeway bridge or something, and it's just a CGI body. And it's like, wow, we're really just not even.
Get Jackie Chan.
Yeah, there were so many.
It's like, no, that's what we're doing.
Times in this movie where my jaw just dropped.
Yeah,
audibly
makes you appreciate.
I
this
was
stuff.
watching this movie. I was being vocal, just like, holy fuck, no! Oh, don't hit him with the bat! Oh no!
Yeah.
Just I see real people. And I just get worried for. I just. Movie aside, human being to human being, I get worried seeing these guys, and I'm on the edge of my seat. Like there's an inherent drama to seeing people do real stunts.
Yeah, and I will tell you the last 20 minutes, and we'll get into it in a second. I'm not to say what happens. Yeah, but I was watching the movie, and Beckett walked in, and he's like, "Can I watch this with you?" And I was like, "Sure." So I paused it. I told him the 30 seconds it took to explain the plot because it wasn't much.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and then we watched it, and he was like, "Oh!" Like he was like freaking out because it was crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So let's get to the ending and I'll catch you up real quick. So they have the girlfriend on Jackie Chan's side. She thinks she's going to be killed. So they go back to his apartment where his actual girlfriend sees him bring the gangster's girlfriend home and gets jealous. And there's this whole comedy scene about comedy of errors where she thinks Jackie Chan is cheating, blah, 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 whatever. When she's at his house, she sees a picture of his friend who was the masked guy who attacked her because the mask fell off. And she recognizes him and she's like, oh my God, the police, they're fucking with me. And she kind of runs away in the middle of the night. So the next day they have a trial for the drug dealers, but because their star witness is gone, it's a comedy scene as well. And the drug dealers basically get out. They get off with, they go free. This was a scene that honestly, I feel like this kind of sucks. I've watched a couple of Kung Fu movies and I feel like there's always a scene that takes place in like a weird British court or something,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw the wigs, they're like, oh, they do that?
It's all right. So here's the thing. A lot of Kung Fu movies are set in like ancient China. They're like ancient Shaolin movies, right? And a big theme in a lot of these movies is imperialism and like the British Empire invading China. So I just feel like you always see Westerners or British characters as the bad guys in Kung Fu movies. I feel like you always see characters in wigs portraying the bad guys in Kung Fu movies. So in this scene, in the courtroom scene, the lawyers are wearing wigs. And I felt like, oh, this is the scene where the bad guys get away with the crime. It just kind of felt, I don't know if I was like bored during the scene or I just felt like it went on too long.
Yeah.
There were also some silly comedy elements to it. To me, this was the low point of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
The middle half of the movie, honestly, the first 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes were awesome. I could have lost everything else. Like, I personally, like the part with him on the phone in the police station and like dealing with all those like, he just kept having to go to different phones and like couldn't figure out which one he was talking into. It's like, okay.
Let's pause. I skipped this scene. Yeah, we're going to talk about this. There's a scene where Jackie Chan is in the police station by himself and he has to answer 10 phones and he's basically doing slapstick comedy, like juggling the phones, and he has to get a pen at one point and he does like a kung fu kick and it like flips over and he catches it.
Right.
Did you know that Jackie Chan is a perfectionist and holds the Guinness Book of World Records for most takes
Oh no.
in a single movie?
Oh no.
Whoa.
For that part?
It's not for this part,
Oh.
and it's not for this movie.
Oh, okay.
But I can
okay.
only imagine the hell it was to
Yeah.
get that scene complete. There is another movie. By the way, Jackie Chan's an amazing person. It's the theme of this episode. He holds a lot of world records. He also holds the Guinness World Records for most credits in a single movie.
Oh.
He's writer, director, producer, singer, star of this movie. But in 2012, he made a movie called Chinese Zodiac. Side note, these are all the credits he had for the movie Chinese Zodiac.
Okay.
Writer, lead actor, director, producer, executive producer, cinematographer, art director, unit production manager, stunt coordinator, prop man, gaffer, composer, theme song vocalist, catering coordinator.
Shut up.
And stuntman.
Wow.
You couldn't do the boom, huh?
You couldn't hold a fucking microphone with Jackie Chan. You go all the way. You stop short. Most credits in a single film, but there's another movie where what's the name of this movie? He basically, I want to find the name of it. I lost it here in my notes. There's a movie where he plays a game of soccer, but he plays it with a shuttlecock, like a birdie you would use, and they kick it around, and he did 3,000 takes.
Shut up.
For a single shot where he kicks the bird, he kicks the shuttlecock twice, and then kicks it into the goal. 3,000 takes. And he said, here's what it is. He said, I'll film the movement until it's the way I like it. That way I know my fans will like it too.
Holy shit.
3,000 fucking takes.
Couldn't just do 2,000?
Yeah, geez. So he holds the record for most takes. So he's a perfectionist.
Jesus. Anyways, that scene was stupid.
And it probably took like 2,000 takes to get it and not worth it. So where were we? The bad guys get off. They want their revenge on Jackie Chan. They end up kidnapping the girlfriend that he's protecting. And while he chases them down, they basically he gets betrayed by a police officer on the force.
Yeah.
A guy who's being paid off by the gangsters, and they frame him for a murder. They take his gun and they shoot another cop with it. and knock him out with some gas. And basically all the newspapers start reporting like, oh my God, Jackie Chan, the world's greatest police officer, is now wanted for murder. And he has to clear his name. He turns himself in to the police, to his bosses, and his bosses are going to charge him with murder. And in a great scene, he like steals his boss's gun and goes like, I honestly thought Jackie Chan was going to shoot everybody on the police force. He went, he's a cop. He's a cop who went fucking rogue. He takes his lieutenant hostage and fights his way out of the police station, but then apologizes to his lieutenant, goes, I wasn't really going to shoot you. And the guy goes, I know, you're the best cop we have. Go catch the bad guys. And he basically says like, I'm going to send the cops after you, but if you can clear your name, do it.
Yeah.
The final act of this movie, they have this MacGuffin where the gangster's girlfriend hacks into his computer and prints out all his files. Prints them out, baby.
And
she's like, got the fucking papers.
And we're talking like you just got your oil change kind of printer, like the
dot matrix printer from 1985.
Yeah.
And she puts all of his files, they're like bank documents or whatever, into a briefcase. And she's going to deliver this. If she delivers this briefcase to Jackie Chan, it'll clear his name. She runs into a mall, and it's basically a big chase scene / fight in a mall. It's all the gangsters trying to get this girl, and Jackie Chan is trying to protect her and get the briefcase. This is like a half-hour fight scene throughout an entire mall. They climb 5 stories throughout this fight scene. So it's people fighting on stairs, people being kicked down escalators, and so much broken glass.
So much.
So much broken glass. Yeah. It's it's another incredible stunt sequence.
One of the notes I have is that there was so much glass used that the crew started calling it Glass Story because all it was about glass and nothing else.
Yeah, I guess they used a lot of sugar glass. You know, like we've used that before too. You break a bottle, whatever. It's a certain type of thing called sugar glass. It doesn't hurt, whatever. But they, again, Jackie Chan is perfectionist, so he made sure they had thicker sugar glass so that it really looked real.
Oh,
but it's like, just endless injuries with this sugar. It's also, like, well, that's why they make it thin so you don't get hurt.
I don't know the budget on this movie. I looked into it. I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah,
but sugar glass, when we had to get it, is expensive.
Yeah,
it's like
when you
$10 a bottle.
Oh, it's more than that. Oh, at least 20. At least 20.
So that's just for a bottle. Like they're talking like full display cases, like car windows. Like how much do they spend?
Maybe there's ways to do it. I'm only speculating. Maybe there's ways to do it that's easy. With a bottle, they have to very carefully mold that and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe if they're pouring their own and they're doing big sheets of it, maybe that can get it done cheaper.
I have no idea.
I don't know. That's the only thing I can estimate.
This fight scene is incredible. There's so many moments in this fight scene where I was just jumping out of my seat. I was probably just like Beckett.
Yeah.
When they're about to they're holding Jackie Chan down, they're about to drop a big statue on his head, and this girl comes out of nowhere with a baseball bat and swings through the glass case to hit the guy in the back. I was like, that's beautiful. All these little details.
Yeah.
Somebody kicks Jackie Chan in the head and he goes head first into a glass case.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
So many times where they could just throw a guy into glass, they'll smash his face into glass and then pick him up and flip him over and drop him on the glass again. I was like, this is so extra. I couldn't get enough.
Not only that, but when he was doing kung fu fighting, it's like, it reminded me of Bruce Lee. He's going so fast.
Yeah.
Like his moves are incredible.
This is what I'm glad you bring this up because I feel like Jackie Chan lives in the shadow of Bruce Lee a lot. Jackie Chan came after Bruce Lee. He looked up to Bruce Lee. He wanted to be Bruce Lee and he always tried to differentiate himself. And people always compare him to Bruce Lee. Yeah. I want to say officially, Jackie Chan is better than Bruce Lee.
Whoa.
I'm putting that out there. On the record, it's fucking official.
I always felt that way, but
this dude is better than Bruce Lee. I will tell you why. First of all, we watched Enter the Dragon.
We did.
Yeah.
I like this movie better than Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, I did too.
Enter the Dragon killed Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee tried to come over to America, and the stress killed him, having to be the writer, director, producer. Jackie Chan did all that too, and survived, and went on to have an incredible international career. But in addition to that, as I've said, was also a pop star also had a cartoon, made after him, speaks 10 languages, invented comedy kung fu. Like, I just feel like Jackie Chan doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody just says Bruce Lee is this, and then Jackie Chan's number 2. Jackie Chan is the king, dude.
Bruce Lee has kind of an image around him of, he's got a real philosophy behind all of his stuff, and I think that speaks to people. You know what I mean? So I see where people's connection is with him.
Also,
where,
he died. And it's
Yeah,
hard to
and there's
be
a
a
tragedy
legend when
attached.
you're alive.
Yeah.
There's like a couple. I can think of like Paul McCartney.
This is
Everyone
what I'm
else
saying.
is not a legend.
Jackie Chan is a fucking living legend. I cannot believe when I watch the stunts in this movie, I just be like, Jackie Chan actually did that. And let's move on to the final stunt.
Yeah.
So Jackie Chan is at the top of the mall. It's 5 stories up. The briefcase gets thrown to the bottom, and the gangsters are running to get it. And there's no way to get this. This is one of the most famous stunts Jackie Chan has ever done. Yeah. There's like a pole that's covered with Christmas lights that runs up and down the mall. Yeah. And he like leaps onto the pole and he rides it down to the bottom, and he falls and he crashes into a kiosk, and he gets to the bottom of the mall. Now, honestly, they show it 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
In the movie, and I feel like it's not that impressive when you watch it. But I think when you really think about it and hear the story, it becomes more and more impressive the more you like kind of ruminate on it and stuff. So I had read that Jackie Chan, that those lights were supposed to be plugged into a battery, but the battery didn't work. So they had to plug those lights into the actual power of the mall. And that caused Jackie Chan to have second-degree burns on his hands. Because as he was sliding down, he was just breaking all those lights, and they were electrocuting him.
Oh, my God.
I watched an interview with Jackie Chan, and he talked about that stunt. And everybody should look this up on YouTube, because I think it's really interesting to get Jackie Chan's approach to this stuff. He basically says that was the big finale for their movie. He knew he had to do it, and he was fucking scared. Oh. Yeah. And he was scared. And I love this interview because Jackie Chan says, I'm not Superman. I'm a regular guy. This is scary.
Right.
Like, this is a crazy stunt. And he's like, I'm looking down. It's 5 stories. And I don't have a crash pad. I have a candy stand. He's like, it's filled with fruit and candy. And it's like a wooden stand. And it's big. I know I can hit it. But then we have these lights. And he's like, all right. So he's sitting up on the rail, and he's propped up on a railing, right?
Yeah.
And he says, I don't even have room to get a running start.
Oh, my God.
And I don't even have flat footing. I can't even stand on balance. I have 1 foot behind me and 1 foot in front of me, and I'm holding this railing.
Jesus.
And he's like, everything is prepped. And my stuntman comes up behind me, and he pats me on the back, and he slips something into my pocket. He goes, Jackie, you're good to go. And he walks away. And he's like, I reach into my pocket, and I pull it out. And it's a little Buddha statue for good luck. And he goes, he knows I don't believe in this stuff. I'm not spiritual, but I go, okay, whatever. And I stick it back in there. And he's like, and it's time to go. And I'm scared to do it.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, and I see things dripping down in front of me. And he's like, he looks up, and it's the cameramen, and they're sweating.
Oh, fuck.
And he's like, these cameramen have been there for 2 hours. And it's time. He's ready to go. And they go, all right, rolling. And they said that 15 cameras start rolling. And he's like, it's the most cameras anybody's ever used up in that point in Asian cinema.
Yeah.
And the whole mall is silent. All the extras, he says, the only thing I can hear is the hum of 15 cameras.
Oh, my God.
Because everybody is just looking at me, holding their breath.
Is this fucker going to do this?
Yeah, and then this is what he said, too. This part is going to piss you guys off or make you cringe so hard. And he goes, I know we're rolling on film, and it's 15 cameras in 1985, so we have like 90 seconds. Like, it's film, and it's 15 cameras. That's hundreds of dollars of actual film they're burning through.
Yeah.
So in the movie, you see him scream before he does it. And in this interview, he says, yeah, I was scared. I just screamed, and I thought, I'm about to die. And then I jumped.
Oh, my God.
And you see him in the movie. He's propped up there, and he goes, ha! And then he just jumps for it. And then they said that he slid all the way down. Everything happened. He hit the bottom, and in the movie, it's in the middle of a chase scene. He starts running. At the end of that take, he gets out, and he's like, ah!
Oh, yeah.
And the stunt guys have to come over and like try to grab him. They're like, calm down. You're going to hurt us. You're going to hurt us. And he's like, I was so full of adrenaline.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop screaming. Ah! And he's like, I went out. I had a beer. I was celebrating. And he's like, 6 hours later, I couldn't move. He's like, I couldn't get up. He's like, I think I used all of my energy for the whole week just on that one jump.
Yeah.
And again, I heard that interview and I'm just like, this guy's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I get scared putting on a stupid Mario costume, walking in a mall.
Yeah, when I saw that part and then they cut to it again and then again, I was like, in the movie, I don't know if it's necessarily you don't need that, but it was cool to see it from different angles. And also, I get why you couldn't cut during that to get the different shots, because it's like I want to see him do it once.
I think that was almost fourth wall breaking. Just like, hey, you know what? Just look at this.
You have to see that, and if they would have cut to those 3 different shots in that one take, it would have looked like, oh, they probably did some trick here.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I want to know that you did it.
I think we're spoiled because we know who Jackie Chan is, and we have seen incredible things. But 1985, I think a guy just jumping. It was probably. Here's another thing too. This scene is so famous.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to hit that pole. I knew he was going to ride that pole down. It was spoiled for me. And only now, doing this podcast, do I realize if I was sitting in the movie theater in 1985, I'm thinking, dude, it's that Tim and Eric moment. I have to be on that airplane, but you're right here. Well, how are you going to get there? It's like the briefcase is 5 stories down, but you're 5 stories up.
Yeah.
Literally, this is suicide. What are you going to do? And then he jumps.
Yeah.
Not knowing that he's going to grab that pole, it's probably the most mind-blowing thing you've ever seen in your life. But I knew he was going to grab it.
Yeah, ironically, it's funny. When I was a kid, I didn't know who Jackie Chan was. Heard the name a bunch of times. And this stunt was the first clip I ever saw of him because I think it was like Inside Edition, or do you guys remember a show, A Current Affair?
Yeah.
All those kind of like tabloid shitty shows. But anyway, they talked about like, oh, Jackie Chan got his start in, Asian cinema or whatever. And that was the clip they showed. That was the only clip I ever saw of him, was him falling through that thing. And at least as a kid, I was like, oh no. Like, it was just like, it never occurred to me, like, there are actors that actually do this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? In my head, it's all made up. It's fake. It's whatever. Right. But I'm like, that guy actually hurt himself. So that blew me away. And to see it finally in the movie it was from, that was, anyway, that was the one thing I had seen.
There's another scene that I wish there was a documentary on this, of him throwing that woman off like a 6-story building into a pool. That was also incredible.
You know what? I meant to look that up and I forgot, because I think that was a guy.
Sure.
I think that was a stunt man just wearing that.
I don't think they actually threw her.
Yeah.
Maybe they did, though. Who knows?
Yeah.
Either way, the execution of it.
Yeah, they are chased to the top of a building, and then Jackie Chan takes a woman and just throws her off the building, and she lands in a pool. And it's an incredible stunt. This movie is a mind blower. All right, now here's some random Jackie Chan info that I think you guys will find interesting, and our audience at home. Jackie Chan is famous for doing all of his own stunts. He no longer does all of his own stunts.
Okay. He's old.
He's old. At the age of 60, he announced he would no longer do his own stunts. The last movie where he did all his own stunts, are you texting Jackie right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Was Chinese Zodiac, that movie where he holds the Guinness record for...
Because he wanted that credit.
He got that credit, yeah. So I hear that movie's not that good, but it's the last time you can see Jackie do his own stunts, and he's like 60 years old.
Yeah.
Sure. Apparently, in 2000... Check this out. In 2001... Jackie Chan was working on a movie that was never made. It was called Nosebleed. It's a movie about a window washer who works at the World Trade Center who stops a terrorist attack.
Shut up.
Yes.
Are you serious?
In 2001, Jackie Chan was working on a movie called Nosebleed, where he played a window washer at the World Trade Center who stops a terrorist attack. There's a terrorist attack.
I wonder why that didn't come out.
Not only to just blow up the World Trade Center, but also blow up the Statue of Liberty. Wow. And the window washer, Jackie Chan,
has to stop him.
Foils the plot, and it was like a comedy kung fu movie. It was going to star Jackie Chan, written by Jackie Chan. It was going to be directed by Rennie Harlin, the director of Die Hard 2, and Steven Spielberg was going to produce it.
Whoa.
What ended up happening instead, that movie got canceled, and what did we get? Steven Spielberg and Jackie Chan's
The Tuxedo?
The Tuxedo.
Spielberg produced that?
Apparently, that was the project that came out instead of Nosebleed.
Oh, no.
So, your favorite movie is actually just kind of like a rebound from what could have been.
Oh, my God.
Wow. If the fucking terrorists didn't do 9/11, we could have had another Jackie Chan classic.
But we still got Glitter, so that the world did,
yeah.
balance
Glitter
out.
with Mariah Carey? What do you say?
Yeah. That came out during 9/11.
Oh.
And
The second worst thing.
I just think it's funny. Insurance companies refuse to insure Jackie Chan.
I can see that.
There's no insurance on these movies.
Oh no!
Let that sink in.
My God.
There's no insurance on these movies. Jackie Chan pays for the medical bills out of pocket.
I do know that like his stunt team has stuck with him through everything, and they're like
they're family.
A family.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a real thing. I saw some clip of like maybe it's at the wrapping of this movie or a movie that he like stopped doing stunts. Like they all like, had a huge party for him and a send off, and he was like super touched, and it was like I don't know.
Jackie Chan's amazing. He's funny. He does kung fu. He's an amazing singer, writer, producer, director, catering coordinator. Is there anything he can't do? He's a living legend. I think everybody out there should check out Police Story, at least the first 20 minutes. But honestly, watch all of it. It's pretty good.
It's cracking me up because I'm reading now that it's so funny, the different types of movies around the world. And, obviously America is such a that's like one of our biggest exports is, Hollywood movies and stuff. But it cracks me up that this was Best Picture in the Hong Kong Academy. That was, it's like here it would be like, oh, please, this would never win Best Picture. Over there, it's like, oh, that's the best.
What won in 85 here?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie I think is super influential. I've read that this movie has changed action films.
I mean,
the course of action films.
Yeah,
they said that like kung fu was always in ancient period pieces until this movie.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have The Matrix.
Yeah.
If Police Story didn't happen.
Oh, no.
Having kung fu in a modern city, that's this movie's invention.
Yeah.
We owe so much to Jackie Chan and Police Story, just action movies and entertainment in general. It's popcorn shaker time. I'm going to give my popcorn shakers first because I picked this movie. 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. My first time going in cold, the middle was a little tedious. I really appreciate this movie. It's not going to be for everyone. If you don't like action movies, you're probably not going to care.
I still think you're impressed if you don't like action movies. I still think you see this go, wow.
Yeah, I think so.
Some people don't like action movies. I made somebody watch the who doesn't like action movies. I was like, yeah, but look at this where they crash through all the houses. And they were like, I just like blur. I stopped focusing on stuff. And I was like, all right, well then sorry.
Oh man, geez.
So it's not for everyone. But for me, it was an amazing movie. 4 out of 5 popcorn shakes. Highly recommended everybody see it.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I think in my head I would like to give it a 3.5. I'm not going to say I was like, it's not the kind of movie that inspires me or affects me, I guess, in a way that I would rank a higher movie, but man, what it did for, like you were saying, for action cinema and Jackie Chan is a force to be reckoned with. So I want to say at 3.5. I might round that down to a 3 just because it is kind of just like it's kind of a wacky movie, but it's a high 3. Like it's something you should definitely check out, just at least for the stunts. And yeah, I think I'll stick with that.
I agree that you should check it out for the stunts. I did not like the story and the wacky parts at all. Like that didn't do anything for me at all. But the action was better than I've ever seen in any movie. So it's like I hated the story, but I also loved the action and I loved the movie because of it. So it's like I don't know where to rate this. It's so weird. I'll give it a 3.
Let me tell you, I know we already rated it, but I enjoyed the story.
Did you?
Yeah,
And
I did too.
I did too. Jackie Chan's acting, I was impressed.
Yeah.
In the scene when he turns himself in and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to turn myself in." And they take his gun away from him and they start arresting him. I was shouting, "Grab the gun, Jackie!" And when he did it, I was cheering. I was cheering. It wasn't an action scene. I was cheering him on. And
Right.
I was into the story. So I got hooked.
I give it a 3, and I do think everyone should watch this movie though. Like I'm so glad that I saw it just for the action scenes. So impressive.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gave me because I used to like Shanghai Noon back in the day. I thought it was a good movie. Probably isn't, but the action I thought when that was cool, and I was like, oh no, the action in Shanghai Noon sucks. This is what awesome, so awesome.
And Jackie Chan's real name, Chan Kong Sang.
Really?
Oh, okay.
All these years, this guy, I think we deserve to learn his real name.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Living legend.
I agree.
Chan Kong Sang, know his name.
Also, I was going to say the 1985 Best Picture was Amadeus. Here. it was
Also
Amadeus.
good. Also
a good
good.
movie.
Yeah.
If we could honestly mash those up, it'd be my favorite movie of all time.
Chanadeus.
Dude, Beethoven
Yeah.
doing some sick ass stunts.
Jackadeus.
I'm a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a story. Yeah.
All right, that's
Composer
Police
Story.
Story. Next is Sean's pick.
Yeah, my pick. I'm gonna choose a movie that I saw once when it first came out and kind of forgot about it, but I think we should revisit. It's a comedy. Let's watch Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping, a Lonely Island production produced by Judd Apatow. Let's check it out.
Watch Pop Star. Come back next week. Hear what we have to say about it. That's what Movie Club is all about. Good night.
You don't want to do any more of the theme song? Now's your chance. I'm about to hit the button.
I don't have where I don't speak. Yeah, all right, get that button ready. Pongino.
Okay, no.